Sometimes in life we all have to go through difficult experiences that we struggle to come out the other side of. And given what happened on last night's Smackdown, it may take me a little while before I'm back on my 2 feet. Oh, look, boom, I managed to find my mojo again, but still, if somebody who did get screwed over big time last night on Smackdown doesn't get his revenge and killed a certain bald-haired fool, I will cry my eyes out until the day I die. And that is not something that anybody wants to see apart from my mother, but that is a joke. Anyway, my name is Simon Miller. You are watching Ups and Downs for Smackdown, the show where, kind of surprisingly, we go through Smackdown and we give the good bits an up and we give the bad bits a down. We do it with this, the finger of power that actually hurt. Let's up those downs. The start to Smackdown, what the hell was that? Down. It was a moment of bliss, I guess, because somebody backstage got, oh, we should shoot this on the aisleway instead of in the ring, and I knew it was going to be a bunch of gibberish as soon as Michael Cole had referred to Nikki Cross as Alexa Bliss's sidekick. So you got Batman and you got flipping Robin, and nobody likes Robin. But then it was just so weird. They spent forever talking about their celebrity crushes, which, by the way, was Brad Pitt, and then the commentators acted like Brad Pitt was a human nobody had ever heard of, and by the time Carmella came out to be the guest, she was just all really sad because I used to be friends with Bayley and now we're not friends anymore. And I guess, yeah, you would be upset if that happened to you, and she blamed the SmackDown Women's Champion change of attitude on Sasha Banks, but then out came Bayley and started to throw jabs like she was a 12-year-old girl, because she looked at Carmella and said, look, we used to be friends, but I only pitied you. Also, don't think you were my best friend. You're only like number 3. I only did that last bit in, but still what she said. It was all leading up to a match they were actually going to have right now because they were so mad at each other. And this is where things switched around. It was really good. Giving it up. It suffered in the sense that I don't think anybody truly believed deep down that Carmella was going to win and become the SmackDown Women's Champion, but the fans were really into it. They bit when they were supposed to bite, and there was a pretty decent spot where Carmella actually had Bayley down for the count, but Bayley, being the smart tamale that she is, just rolled out the ring. It really pissed people off. There was also some funky glitch that happened halfway through this, and I want to mention it now because I only saw one other throughout this episode of SmackDown, but maybe I missed a few I do not know. And at first I was like, oh, I guess it's going to be Bray Wyatt, but it doesn't actually seem like it ties in. So the question is, who has been glitching on Smackdown? Being the asshole that she is, Bayley got the win after pinning Carmella and putting her foot on the ropes. What a dick she can be, before Naomi came out to make the save. Now, if you ever wondered what somebody would look like after Glow threw up on them, Naomi thankfully was here for you this evening. She couldn't have had the word Glow written on her gear anymore. All of this was very solid though, and as we find out later, we are going to get Carmella versus Naomi next week to find out who is facing Bayley at Super Showdown. That's actually quite good, because as much as the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view suck, at least we're actually getting another women's match, because you know, it's 2020 and it's progressive. I mean, what a pile of crap, but at least it's happening. All of this was very entertaining and very solid, and it's also set up Carmella versus Naomi next week to find out who shall be the new #1 contender. We also learned that Baron Corbin has been banned from their building this evening after last week he poured a drink over a fan, and if you actually think you weren't going to see the King this evening, well, actually, good for you. You should be buying into these storylines. You should be buying into these angles. It makes wrestling so much fun. You're also very gullible. Of course, he was going to be here. Bayley then followed up on everything we just saw by saying she will take on somebody at Super Showdown. And as much as these Saudi Arabia pay-per-views suck, at least we're finally getting women's matches on them. Because, you know, it's 2020, and that should absolutely be a thing. So it's a small ray of light in a swamp of filth. Right, I do really respect Lacey Evans, and WWE has been doing a far better job recently of telling you why you should cheer this lady. Like, we had a video package here, and Lacey was telling us, I get letters from fans, and I put them in my boots because it inspires and it motivates me. And the letter she was talking about here was actually incredibly, well, I guess impactful would be the right word, because it was from somebody who had lost both their parents to addiction. She found strength and she found courage when she sees Evans, who has been through the same thing. This was genuinely very good. I also just have to say that WWE is kind of like hitting us over the face a little bit too much with all the things they're doing with Lacey Evans. We still need good storyline reasons as to why she is a face. With all that said, taking that and throwing it over there, yeah, thumbs up. Otis and Tucker are just the damn best though, aren't they? Otis was here getting ready for his big date of the evening, and he acted like Batman seeing the bat symbol when his phone went off, given that it was Mandy Rose, before his bro Tucker was here to remind him, Otis, just be yourself, that's all that matters, and that is enough. You damn right, Tucker. Although we shall talk about more of this later. I'm so confused when it comes to Shorty G and Apollo Crews though. Like, it's like a math problem I can't figure out. Down. The issue this week came in the fact that they were both fighting Sheamus, and I like Sheamus. So when you also learn that Sheamus absolutely whooped their ass and beat both of them in the ring for the 1, 2, 3, I should like that. But I can't get into it because I just don't get it. Why did we turn Shorty G into a walking Instagram post in a biscuit? And why has Apollo Crews come back just to lose when on Raw? You got people like Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, Murphy doing really, really well. Why can't we just parallel that over on Friday nights? Mr. Not Tall and Mr. Flippy could be so much more than they are, but instead they're treated like children who were getting beaten up by a bully. And that is exactly what we saw. I mean, at one point Sheamus was gonna bro kick Apollo Crews, but he got out of the way, so he crashed into Shorty G. And then you thought, oh, maybe that's the distraction that will allow Crews to get the win. Nope, he also got kicked in the nose, and that was that. Sheamus wins. Also, take this and put it into your brain. Throughout it all, the fans were chanting for the Irish Curse, the man who has said nothing but bad things. So I think we can safely say this experiment has absolutely failed. Although yes, I still do like Sheamus. Carmella was backstage next, said that she was really, really mad at Bayley and that she will go on to take that SmackDown Women's Championship from her. I don't think she's going to. Right, so WWE has to stop this whole, oh, a legend is going to be live on SmackDown this evening, only to have them phone in using Skype. Now, it wasn't as bad this week, like Goldberg last week. That was pretty like, are you kidding me? But this week, they only announced that Hulk Hogan was going to be on the show about 3 seconds beforehand. So I don't think anybody thought, oh, he's going to be in the arena. But if you do buy a ticket thinking you're going to see a Hall of Famer and you don't, you are allowed to be upset. But with that said, all of this was great. Hogan was putting over the NWO's induction into the Hall of Fame by reminding you that not only is the NWO for life, but that the NWO is for life, and that when you're in the NWO, it's for life. If you're not picking up what I'm saying, he couldn't have said for life anymore if he tried. Bray Wyatt then won the evening though by interrupting all of this with a special edition of the Firefly Funhouse that was based on those old NWO adverts they used to do back in the day. You remember the ones that had that voice that went, the following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order. That was cool, and this was kind of cool too. Wyatt even walked into frame by playing his Universal Championship like Hollywood Hogan used to do, and we even had the dumbest line on SmackDown in a while when Huskus the Pig, or whatever the hell his name is, popped up wanting some chocolate, and when Bray Wyatt gave it to him, he said, I hope it's not too sweet, because you know, that's what they used to do. Absolutely stupid, absolutely excellent. Bray told Hulk Hogan that if he kept putting over Goldberg, which he had been doing, he had no problem putting another picture on his wall, and he had a picture of Hogan, and the Hulk still having none of this, and he got up and walked off after saying he will see Bray Wyatt in Tampa when he goes into the Hall of Fame for a second time. Now this was strange as it was kind of just there, but does anybody else think that maybe, just maybe, Hulk is going to Saudi Arabia? WWE has decided to take the belt off of Bray Wyatt and thinks the best way to do that is to have Hogan involved in some kind of crappy finish. I'm just guessing, I'm just fantasy booking, and I did enjoy all of this, but I don't really know why we saw it. Guess we'll find out soon. Sami Zayn and Cesaro were then in the ring doing protest songs. They may get abused by WWE in the sense they never win, but this was entertainment personified. Giving it up. Zayn was going to play the ukulele and Cesaro had a drumstick in which he was going to hit a cowbell, and then they got interrupted by that asshole Elias. And I absolutely hated Elias in this moment because I was so up for seeing this performance and it got taken away from me by that bearded fool. And I get it, I get the irony. This is Elias interrupting somebody else, but it was not for me. Also, a note that we had another one of those glitches here, and I still have absolutely no idea what it was referring to. Maybe it was GTV. Thankfully, after Elias had run his mouth, Zayn and Cesaro realized that the world did want to hear their magical music, and they started to play, as well as Cesaro hitting that cowbell as if his life depended on it, which led Sami to turn to him and say, dude, I'm gonna need a lot less cowbell, which of course is a reference to a very famous Saturday Night Live skit I liked it. Eventually the bad guys were beating up on Elias, because of course that always happens, and then Braun Strowman was out to make a save. But then one of Sami Zayn's security guards thought, I suppose I'll do my job. He tried to stop them, and he couldn't have failed anymore if he tried, because he got grabbed by Braun and Elias, and they launched him so high into the air, I'm not 100% sure he has ever come down. I mean, it was like when Gene Snitsky punted that toy into the audience, and that wasn't his fault. And yeah, this was kind of just there, but let me tell you this, the fans couldn't have enjoyed it any more if they tried. They were cheering, they were yelping, they were hollering, and it made the whole thing just a lot more enjoyable than it would have been otherwise. I mean, we even got a "We Want Cowbell" chant, which is obviously dumb, but dumb equals fun. Maths. Naomi cut a promo after. She also wants a match against Bayley, and as we've already doubled down on, it's going to be Naomi versus Carmella next week to see who gets that shot. And then, my friends, it was time. I could feel the nerves, I could see the sweat, and I'm only referring to what was happening to me, but it was Otis's big date with Mandy, and because my brain is an absolute asshole, the first thing I thought was, who the hell is filming this? We're in a restaurant, it's somebody's personal time. I don't know why I do these things, but it's a good question, right? Otis arrived with some red roses and in the oddest attire I've ever seen in my life. It was half wrestler, half smart. He was like wearing a suit, but he'd also cut the arms off, because that's just what we had to do. But when he did get to the restaurant and he found Mandy Rose with his eyes, who did he see sat down at the table? It was Dolph Ziggler, who seconds earlier had put his hand on Mandy Rose's shoulder and surprised her. But Otis didn't know this. Otis thought he had been let down, and he was so upset he threw his bouquet on the floor and he left in pieces. Now obviously we don't know what the deal is here with Mandy Rose. No, Dolph Ziggler was going to turn up. It's Dolph Ziggler just being an absolute buffoon. It's just too much for me to take, and I cannot believe how emotionally invested I am in two people I don't know. And while this was actually, like I say, very, very good, because I'm desperate to see where it's going to go, it of course is going to get her down, because I only have one heart, and when you make it bleed and when you make it cry, you don't get away with it. Otis, you stay strong, my friend. I am with you. No mucking around either. I didn't like the main event. Down. It was a really entertaining match, and everybody in it should be given a round of applause for being great professional wrestlers, but it's also one of those situations where WWE has booked themselves into a corner. If you thought this was the only finish you can do, then just don't do this finish, because the Miz and John Morrison, who are #1 contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, just lost. The Miz got Superman punched, the Miz got speared, and then Roman Reigns pinned him like I shouldn't give two craps about him at all. This is such a shame, because everything else made so much more sense. For example, Roman Reigns' mystery partner was Daniel Bryan, and I can buy into that because Daniel Bryan and The Miz have a history, and they have said time and time again, we are always going to hate each other. But on top of that, as I hinted at earlier, King Corbin came barreling down and took his seat in the audience, but he only attacked Roman Reigns when the match was done. Now, WWE loves doing schmoz finishes, even when there's no need to do schmoz finishes, so why didn't we do a schmoz finish here when the match would actually benefit from it? Hashtag schmoz. It just felt so easy too, and John Morrison and The Miz were just blown over like they were a tree in a hurricane storm. Also, when you do stuff like this, you are allowing the anti-Roman Reigns brigade to just get a little bit louder and a little bit louder, because this is the stuff they don't like. And no, I didn't like it either. I like The Miz and John Morrison, and I want them to feel strong. You could have put anybody in this spot, especially because the only reason we had this to begin with is that they fell out on social media. Like best friend nonsense again. But yeah, Corbin did attack Roman Reigns afterwards, because that is the feud that is never going to end. And it was not the best way to finish SmackDown, especially because, as I've already said, my heart was in 1,000 pieces. Which brings us to the end of the episode and my spinny arrow, and I don't really know what to give this, because I didn't like the main event, but the Bayley match was a surprise, and like I say, the Otis stuff ruined me, but it ruined me in the way it was intended to. But ultimately, if I'm just being honest, Raw is a much better show than SmackDown, and that hasn't always been the case. But I am going to give it an up, but that's a very, very, very close up, mostly because I'm in a good mood. But we've got to sort a lot of this stuff out. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know if you did like SmackDown or if you didn't. I'll genuinely be intrigued this week. I imagine a lot of you are on the fence. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching. This may have been the second time I filmed this video, because damn you audio technology. My nightmare, my enemy. And also, as a little surprise, tomorrow we are going to up those downs for NXT TakeOver Portland. Because why the hell not? I will see you then. You take care of yourselves.